respond.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Hump Day in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham, and you know, maybe this is considered the 6A extended semifinal post-game show as Buckhorn and Alena tangled in Birmingham with a trip to the championship game on the line. Buckhorn looking to go back-to-back, got the win with sophomore Caleb Holt, once again doing Caleb Holt-type things. He didn't score in the first quarter, scored 11 in the second quarter. Bucks were trailing by 5 at the half, 26-21, and then Holt with 26 points in the second half. He was 14 for 18 from the line. They kept fouling him, and he kept making them. And this kid, he just continues to step up. It's always in the biggest moments that this kid steps up. They get the win by a score of 60-47. Now, Mountain Brook and Carver will play later on to set the other side of that championship game. So feel free to react to that game if you want. Now, tomorrow at 1:15, we're going to have the 7A semifinal between Huntsville and Enterprise. So we'll have that. We'll have a short show tomorrow, and then we'll turn it over for Huntsville and Enterprise. Now, in the meantime, we got plenty to get into. Auburn is in Knoxville tonight with a huge SEC game. Alabama fans are invested in this one as well. And the Vols and the Tide, you know, they're tied atop the SEC standings. So, Alabama fan, who you got tonight? I mean, what do you do? Can you pull for Auburn? Alabama fan, right? You want Auburn to beat Tennessee, don't you? You pull for Auburn? Or does your hate of the Tigers put you on the side of the Vols? Do you not watch the game at all? Maybe you just don't watch the game? That could be an option. Or do you watch it and, like, throw up a little bit in your mouth while you're watching the game? If you're an Alabama fan. I'd love to hear from you on that. David Moulton from the Florida Sports Radio Network will join us in a few minutes to talk about that game and other things going on in the sports world, including the fact that now Notre Dame and UConn are the only two independents left in college football. The Irish are in the ACC for other sports and have a scheduling agreement for football. UConn is in the Big East, which doesn't have football. Is it time for Notre Dame to get in a conference, or is this independent thing going to go on forever? Could Notre Dame save the ACC? And we'll get into that conversation. At the top of the one, we're going to pull back the curtain on the NFL Combine with a guy that's been to about 25 of those things, former Vikings GM and Titans president Jeff Diamond, back in the house with us. Phone lines are open at 256-576-4977. You can text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. Great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The stations is at 97.7 ESPN. We are on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN, where you can get a link to our YouTube channel, WZZN TV. You can like and subscribe on YouTube and get notifications there. Go to 97.7ESPN.com and get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get our app. Just search 97.7 ESPN The Zone from your app store. And then you can find links to Zone 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. All our alternate streaming channels for more great programming. Check out the calendar at 97.7ESPN.com. Now, I've got various things I want to get into today. I've got some coaching topics on my brain that I want to get to. Read an interesting article about small college coaches who have risen to Power 4 conference jobs and why it doesn't happen more. We have two of them right here in Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, whose first head coaching job was at NAIA, and Hugh Freeze, the high school coach from Briarcrest in Memphis, whose first college job was at Tiny Lambuth, an NAIA school in Jackson, Tennessee. Now, since I have experience on the D3 level, I've got an opinion on that. We'll try and get that in there as well. And the NFL Players Association put out their annual report card on teams in the league, graded in 11 areas by the players anonymously. It's some really interesting stuff in there. Over in a little glass booth with the slanted ceiling, playing the platters that matter and the stacks of wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air. You know who it is, the one and the only DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up
That Thom? Hey, Thom?
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the f*** it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizzlicious, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing just fine. Yeah, no, it was very enjoyable for the most part that we were able to get the Buckhorn game on. They were having some problems with the state show or the state station or something like that. Yeah, the radio network was having some issues. It kept coming in and out. And
really?
Yeah, okay. we contacted them and they got it up and running, and it was stayed true for the whole second half. So what a second half though for Buckhorn and Caleb Holt. I mean, that was wild.
Yeah, no, it was wild, and this is what they do.
Yeah,
they've done this before. They did the same thing in a regional final. They start out slow, and then they go nuts in the second half.
Yeah. Second half team. I mean, just lights out. I mean, it was really be able to sit here and listen to, and hopefully they'll be able to win the state title.
Yeah, no, we'll see. Who did they play in the final last year? Was it Mountain Brook? In the final last year, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
So
yes.
If Mountain Brook gets that win against Carver, it'll be a redo of that game. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not that happens. All right, lots to get into, as I said. David Moulton, though, coming up right off the bat of the show. So we're going to get a break in here. When we come back, David Moulton will join us. We'll cover a bunch of topics. Then we'll get the phone lines opened up for you if you want to jump in as well. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
No payments for 90 days on 23 and 24 models. Financing as low as 0% and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 47 years in a row. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's Truck Month, the time of the year to get the best deals on F-150, Explorer, Bronco, Edge, Bronco Sport, and Escape. During Truck Month, get financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on 2023 F-150 Crew Cabs, and lease payments as low as $375 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $62.82 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. Offer ends 2/29/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, we have over 40 Bronco Sports and nearly 50 Explorers and about a dozen full-size Broncos, all with great sales incentives and no payment for 90 days. Truck Month only happens once a year. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates. Residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
College football.
The ball is caught. It is a touchdown.
Major League Baseball.
That ball is gone. A home run.
This is your place for complete sports coverage all year long. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Gets it in 9 seconds, 7 seconds. They get it to Holt. He'll probably take this shot. He drives in, jump stop, left-handed, beautiful. Holy cow. Are you kidding me?
In case you missed it, Buckhorn with the 60-47 win in the state semifinal, the 6A state semifinal. Caleb Holt, again, going off, doing all kinds of Caleb Holt things. He only had 11 points in the first half. In fact, he only had all 11 points were in the second quarter. Buckhorn trailing by 5 at the half, and then Holt goes off for 26 in the second half, 37 points overall, 14 for 18 from the line. And Buckhorn gets the win, and they'll go for back-to-back 6A state championships. Tomorrow you'll hear the Huntsville game between Huntsville and Enterprise. That will be at 1:15 with the pregame. Tip is at 1:30, and that's the 7A as well. So the only thing I wonder is, Grizz, could we get, if Buckhorn wins the 6A title and Huntsville wins the 7A title, can we get one more game between those two teams?
Yeah.
Can we just get them back to the Vaughn Braun Center, get them out of Birmingham, bring them back to the Vaughn Braun Center, pack that out with about 6,000 people, and let's have Huntsville and Buckhorn play one more time. That would be nice. That would be good. All right, so you know who wasn't in Birmingham to see Caleb Holt this time? Bruce Pearl or Nate Oates, because they're both on the road with Alabama at Ole Miss and Auburn up there at Tennessee. I'm sure, though, they'll get the full report on how the kid did, that's for sure. But joining us now to talk about all things sports on the Florida Sports Radio Network, David Moulton joins us. David, by the way, on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. David, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. You know, you got me thinking my senior year of high school, we were the public school state champion in football, and we got ranked second in the state by the statewide poll, and the big private school in the state, they, of course, won their state title, and we knew this was coming for a month. We couldn't leapfrog them in the poll, and we were publicly challenging them to, hey, when we win our state title and you win your state title, what do you say? All right, and this was the first few years that then Giant Stadium was open, and they were holding the high school state championships at Giant Stadium. So, you know, in theory, if we drew a big crowd, well, it could hold it. So, and of course, you know, they didn't take us up on the offer. So when you were talking about those two schools, if they win the 6A and 7A title, you know, playing one more time, absolutely, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. They played in a Christmas tournament, and Huntsville got the close win there. They both have some outstanding talent, but this Caleb Holt kid is a sophomore. He's been on the varsity leading this Buckhorn team since he was an 8th grader, and, you know, you're going to see him. The hope is he's got good parents, and the hope is he's just going to stay in high school and not do the IMG thing or go to some place where he can get NIL money or whatever. The hope is he will continue, you know, his high school career, but he has got an offer on the table from every school in the SEC and schools all around the country. And it's just so fun to watch the kid. 6'6". I mean, he's a sophomore. And he scored 37 in a state semifinal game. It's crazy cool to watch.
Well, and if he's got all those offers, to be honest, he doesn't need to do the the private school thing.
It's true.
He could do stuff like that. Him and his family could, do that kind of training on their own. So he could, stay with his friends. And we all know we can't get those years back. Those are precious years in our lives.
Yeah. His parents are really solid people. So, I think they, are keeping him well grounded. That's for sure. He was as a freshman last year. He won our Rocket City Award as the outstanding athlete in the area. I mean, that's just how.
Who was the best high school athlete that you've covered?
The best high school athlete.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who the most talented high school athlete is that I ever covered in my life. Noel Devine, North Fort Myers.
Oh yeah.
Noel Devine, whose son. Now, just going to make you and I feel old. Noel Devine's son just signed with Rich Rod at Jacksonville State, and he's a 3-star. And Jacksonville State doesn't get a lot of 3-stars, but due to his connection with his daddy and Rich Rodriguez, Noel Devine's son, I think I don't know. I don't want to say what his name is. I don't know what his name is, but he's going there. But he's probably the most talented athlete that I ever saw in my life was Noel Devine as a high school player. What about you?
And for those that don't remember, Noel Devine went to West Virginia when Rich Rod was there, so that's the connection. I'm lucky. Early, I had Rocket Ismail and his brother Kadri, all right, in high school football. Also had Ron Paulus and Gary Brown, who was a running back at Penn State and then with the Oilers. Basketball, I watched Bobby Sura carry 4 stiffs to the state final in Pennsylvania. Sammy Watkins in Southwest Florida.
Right.
So, that would be my list probably.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that a little bit, but that's that's interesting. Of course, it's a weird dynamic in Alabama. North Alabama is very good in basketball and wins a lot of state championships. I mean, there have been some outstanding basketball programs that come out of North Alabama. Downstate is where all the football programs are. North Alabama can't win a football championship to save their life. Downstate, though, they've got from Birmingham over to Montgomery down to Mobile, that part of the state. That's where all the football is, and they also have. It's different down there. They have high school football coaches down there that make $120,000, $130,000 a year, and their job is high school football coach. They don't teach. They don't do anything else. They might teach a football class, in a thing. That's it. Whereas in North Alabama, for whatever reason, the way it's set up there, you got to be a teacher, and then you get the stipend to be a coach. But all of these coaches in North Alabama, they have like 3 or 4 classes that they're teaching. Where downstate, they're hiring coaches for $120,000, $130,000 a year to do nothing but coach.
Well, there's your priorities right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just different. It's just odd the way it works that way. But huge game tonight in Knoxville. I threw a question out there for Alabama fan. What do you do? But Auburn is in Knoxville. Alabama and Tennessee tied atop the SEC. You got to pull for Auburn. I mean, Tennessee is going to Tuscaloosa here on Saturday night. So you got to pull for Auburn to ding Tennessee, but I don't know if Alabama fan can pull for Auburn. You certainly can't pull for Tennessee to beat Auburn just because it's Auburn. Maybe you don't even watch the game, or maybe you watch the game and you just kind of throw up a little bit in your mouth while you're watching the game. I don't know how Alabama fan deals with a Tennessee-Auburn game like this, but what's your take on Bruce Pearl's return to Knoxville again and whether or not they can get him?
Well, I mean, obviously Auburn's very good. They've got 4 road wins in the SEC, none of them against tournament teams. Mm-hmm. Their 4 road wins are Ole Miss, who needs to beat Bama tonight to realistically just get on the bubble. And if they don't win tonight, I mean, Ole Miss probably has to run the table in the SEC tournament to get in because they're on a lot of people's second 4 out or even beyond that. But Auburn's beaten Ole Miss and then the 3 worst teams according to the standings in the SEC, Georgia, Arkansas, and Vandy. Right. They lost to Bama, they lost to Mississippi State, they lost to Florida, all tournament teams, and they didn't cover in any of those three as well, for those of you that care about that sort of thing. They're getting 5.5 to 6.5 tonight. If this was March, Tom, I'd never pick a Rick Barnes team in March. But it's still February, so I think I'm laying the points.
Yeah, and of course, then that would set up that epic matchup on Saturday night. Assuming that Alabama takes care of business at Ole Miss, you know, from a talent standpoint, they shouldn't have a problem doing that. But they're coming off of that ridiculous loss at Kentucky, where Kentucky scored, you know, a record 117 points for Kentucky. They also gave up, Kentucky, that was the most points ever scored by an opponent in an SEC game, 95 points by Alabama, and they beat them by 22. I mean, that's just the status of where we're at. Do you think that, I don't know how close you watch the totals. We know that in the NBA, the numbers are crazy. I mean, the scoring in the NBA is totally out of control. Nobody wants to put a hand in anybody's face. But the numbers in college basketball are quite high as well. Have the handicappers caught up to this? I mean, are we getting, 200, 189, 191? Are we getting those kind of totals on these games?
No, they have not gone to that heights yet in terms of the totals. I do sense that the totals are 7, 8, 10 points higher this year, but no, if they've been totals like that, I haven't seen them. Tom, there's an amazing phenomenon going on, because you're right. Up until the All-Star break in the NBA, the scoring was crazy. The over-under totals couldn't keep up. There have been 51 games in the NBA played since the All-Star break. The under is 38, 12, and 1.
Wow. So they overreacted,
I know.
Is what you're saying.
I know. It's obviously, this is a weak phenomenon. Okay, but I'm just amazing. Since the All-Star break, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if guys are playing harder and therefore there's actually a little bit of defense. I don't know if Vegas has adjusted the over-unders to a certain level. I don't know. But, I mean, think, for as much as over's been the play, the first 50-plus games of the NBA season, under has covered over 75% of the time since the All-Star break.
Wow, David Moulton joining us here. That is a huge trend, and I can only think that that this is an overreaction maybe by Vegas. Maybe they just took it a little bit too far, in their setting of those numbers. But or maybe, all the angst that was out there publicly after the All-Star game and with the commissioner and everything else, maybe these guys figured that, you know what, maybe we might need to start D'ing it up a little bit, just a little bit. Plus, we're going to get to a stretch run.
I think, the NBA's All-Star break was really at the two-thirds poll, even a little bit beyond. I mean, teams came out of the All-Star break with 25 games left in their season. It's playoff push now. And so that's why I think there's a little bit more defense being played, and a few more guys are also playing because of it.
Yeah, no doubt. To college football, with UMass now going into a conference, going into the MAC, that leaves Notre Dame and UConn as the only two independents left in college football. UConn, of course, been in the Big East. They don't play football anymore in the Big East. They're in a basketball conference. Notre Dame is in the ACC for everything else except for football, where they remain an independent. Is the time coming, in our time on the radio, and however many years we have left on the radio in our careers, will Notre Dame football finally get into a conference, or are they going to take this independent thing right to the end? I mean, because UConn will jump in something. I would think they would do something at some point in time. But does Notre Dame need to be compelled to be into a conference? And further, could Notre Dame actually be the savior for the ACC? If Notre Dame were to, say, join the ACC on some kind of a money deal, could they save that conference from being decimated?
Well, Tom, you'd have to go back at least 6 months. But that was my proposal on your show, that when Florida State and or Clemson or anybody else was talking about leaving, that I said, if I'm the ACC, I'd go to Notre Dame and I go, how about if we give you the first 80 to 100 million and we'll figure out the rest with all the other teams we have left? Will you join the conference? I mean, I would have already done that if I was the commissioner of the ACC. Tom, there's no reason for them to have to join a conference. The Big Ten schools are still scheduling them. I mean, I would have done that a generation ago if I was the Big Ten.
Sure.
I've offered you twice to come. You said no both times. One time you left me at the altar. I literally would be like, I would have an edict. We can't play them in any sport. The SEC schools aren't raising their hand in volume to play them. You know, Georgia did a home and home. You know, occasionally, Bama will do one. Texas may do one. But, I mean, in mass, they're not scheduling Notre Dame in all their sports. If the Big Ten really wanted Notre Dame to join their conference, they'd stop playing them because Notre Dame needs quality games. And, yeah, they get some from the ACC, but they can get more quality from the Big Ten in all their sports, but the Big Ten still plays them. Tom, they still have a spot in the playoff if they're good enough, and that's like what, top 12 in the country?
Well, that's
Notre
what I
Dame
don't know. What is
top 12?
What is their entry point? I'm trying to think of is that what it is? If they well, it wouldn't be 12 because there's only 7 at-large teams. So because you're going to have 2 that are outside of the top 12. You're going to have a Big 12 champ, and you're going to have a Group of 5 champ that are going to be outside of the top 12. So you're going to say, let's say top 10. So is that their entry point? At that point in time, are they, if they're number 8 in the country, boom, they get in? Is that that's how they get in?
Well, but think about it. That's a home game.
Yeah.
So they're in, and they get a home game. See, here's the thing. Okay, the College Football Playoff Committee. Here's why, by the way, the playoff committee has never forced Notre Dame to join the conference or said to them, sorry, you're not in a conference, you're not worthy of a bid. It's because we all know where they'd end up. So the SEC is not going to force them to join a conference because they know that they're not coming to them. The Big 12 is not going to force them. Pac-12, when they were in business, wouldn't force them. It would have been either the Big 10 or the ACC, so the other conferences aren't going to force Notre Dame to join a conference because it's not going to help them.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. You don't want to have an unfair entry point either. I thought it was interesting. You and I have been talking about this home game on campus, and I don't know that doesn't last just the first 2 years. The last 2 years of the original deal here coming up in 25 and 26, and then or 24 and 25, and then everything is on the table for 26 when we go to probably going to end up with 16. I'm not sure that you're going to end up with games on campus again. But I did find it was interesting to see that the NCAA said, or not the NCAA, but the College Football Playoff said that money, they control all the ticket revenue. The only question right now is what's going to happen with concessions and parking. But the NCAA is controlling all the ticket revenue from those 4 games that are being played on campus, and that money's getting dispersed amongst the whole field. So I thought that was kind of a different thing. So the financial incentive of dropping to a 5 spot, let's say, as opposed to being in a bye situation, isn't quite as much as it would have been.
Yeah, somehow I don't think Sankey and Pertiti are going to allow that to be the financial arrangement beginning in 2026, when they will go to 16, I believe, because I think once we see 2 years of 12, I think the 1, the 2, and potentially the 3 and the 4 seeds are going to go, yeah, I want my home playoff game. My fans want the home playoff game. I mean, come on, Tom. They've been doing it at D2, D3, and NAIA for 40 years.
But they don't have 40 bowl games.
It's not complicated. It's not.
Right,
16 teams, 1 through 16, 2 through 15. Let's go.
Yeah, but they don't have 40 bowl games. So that's the only thing that might throw a kink into that is the unless they completely blow up the ball. Here's a real radical thing. All right, I'm just spitballing because the way things are going in sports now, crap just happens. Maybe we should have maybe the bowl season should be the first week or 2. Maybe the bowl season should be Labor Day and get all these bowl games of interdivisional games and so on, interconference games, and get all of that done early on, make them as sexy as possible, and then let's go and be done with it. Because otherwise, those bowl games at the end are going to be, when we get to 16, you're going to take 8 and then 4 more. You're taking 12 prime games right out of the bowl system. It's going to be, it's going to be even worse.
Well, I don't know about 12. I think it may just be 8. I have a feeling once we get to the quarterfinals, they may disperse that out amongst 7 bowl games and make them, kind of like the PGA Tour right now has those elevated events.
Right.
That college football is going to have the 7 elevated bowl games, and that'll be the quarters, semis, and title game. every year, but we have 8 first-round home games. Listen, if you're ESPN, I know, Capital One Bowl week and it works for you and all that, but you may need the money back to pay for some stuff. You got NBA, $2.7 billion a year for the NFL. This college football thing's getting more expensive by the day. I mean, you really want to keep propping up the, Gasparilla Bowl?
Well, maybe they do need to contract some of those things. It's programming, and it still gets numbers. That's the funny thing about it. It's
No,
like
it
the
does,
Pro Bowl.
but it ain't going to get playoff numbers.
No. We'll never get playoff numbers. It will never get playoff numbers.
Is it really worth to prop up all these bowls? I mean, Tom, what are we at, 40, 42, 43? I mean, it's kind of like PGA Tour events right now. You sure we couldn't lose a few? Take 43 down to 36. I mean, we can't do that with the bowls. Really? I mean, a lot of these bowls lose money. The only people that make money are the guys walking around in the ugly sport coats. The teams often lose money playing in the games. I mean, could we start actually running this like a business? It is big business after all. They're doing all of these changes for money. Can we do the bowls for the same reason?
I've always just kind of looked at them as it's a 13th week of college football. That's all. It's just another week of college football and games that weren't on the schedule, and let's stop pretending that it's a big deal, and just it's just another week of college football. And it's a holiday week of college football, as well. But I don't know. I think everything is on the table now. But you got the, they're going to change the early signing day for recruiting. I would love to see all of that stuff get out of December. I don't know how coaches, are handling recruiting when you got staff changes, you got everything going on because you got the transfer portal opening up and the recruiting going on. It's a nightmare in December right now.
Tom, you and I are both from the Northeast. Do we really need the Pinstripe Bowl when we're going to have 8 playoff games the 7 to 10 days before Christmas, and then we're going to have 4 quarterfinals waiting for us right around New Year's Day? I mean, how much stuff do we need in and around that?
Well,
I don't know that you're right. The bowl games were there to occupy us, to keep us from having to not talk to our family. Well, I think we got enough stuff to occupy us now.
Every bowl game had a bigger audience than the average college basketball game that wasn't UNC Duke. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we get college basketball every single night. So they're just it's like the Pro Bowl games, those things that they do now to whatever the heck they're doing, their tug of war and all that other stuff. 5.5 million people watch that crap, and they're never going to just completely end that. And in the All-Star game, which is a joke, 5.5 million people watch that crap, and that's more than everything else over this past weekend, for example. So I guess if the people keep watching, they're going to keep putting it out there. I don't know. David Moulton has been our guest. David, I appreciate you so much, and we'll look forward to chatting again. And we might have some big news next week to talk about, so we'll look forward to that.
You and this big news. I just, honestly, what in the are you talking about? Big news.
The Huntsville and Buckhorn going for state championships. That's what it is.
Okay. Now that I'm interested in, but whatever it is you're thinking about, I'm not interested.
All right, man. Appreciate you as always.
Take care.
We'll get a break. We'll come back. Get the phone lines open if you want to jump in. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Free air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. omahasteaks.com/VSiN.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Major League Baseball spring training in full swing. The Dodgers enter the season as the favorite to win the World Series at plus 375 with Atlanta, the second among betting favorites at plus 550. The defending World Series champion Houston Astros check in at plus 800 with the Yankees at plus 900. Aaron Judge a plus 550 favorite to win the MVP with Juan Soto at plus 600. Corey Seager plus 850 and Yordan Alvarez plus 900. Julio Rodriguez plus 1,000 to win the MVP. March Madness is fast approaching. Connecticut the 450 favorite to win the national title, followed by plus 700 Houston, plus 700 Purdue, plus 1,200 Arizona. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Our steady diet consists of food and football, and occasionally some baseball and hoops.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Davis, no, it's stolen away. Oh, my goodness, behind the back dribble by Holt. He drives all the way in, goes up, he's hacked, and he makes it. Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. Show this segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. For all your mortgage needs, it's North Alabama Mortgage. They are there for you. They are there for us. They are there for the community is what they're really there for, is the entire community. They're always supporting and helping out people around the community. But North Alabama Mortgage right now, you know, if you're thinking about doing a home improvement, use the home equity in your property. It's at an all-time high. Use that equity now, refi later. get the job done that you want to get done. And, as the rates come down, when they get down to bottoming out, then you can go ahead and refi again and get it done that way. You can also eliminate consumer debt forever by using the equity that is in your property and then refining again at a lower rate or a shorter term when the rates drop. They always do drop. They're coming back now. They've been coming down as well. Go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com and they can teach you how to deal with that. Had a buzzer beater to end all buzzer beaters last night. Max Strus for Cleveland, Grizz. I don't know if you saw this 59-foot shot.
Yeah.
From to beat the Mavericks.
Right after they just made a bucket too. Right before that, they inbounded the ball and boom, he threw it up.
Yeah, P.J. Washington off the pass from Luka Doncic, and 2.5 seconds to go, they inbound to Max Strus, and Strus dribbles a couple times and lets it fly. So a half-court buzzer beater, okay? Half-court buzzer beater or a home run to walk off. A walk-off home run or
a walk-off.
So that's more exciting. You take the walk-off home run off of the half-court buzzer beater?
I do like the half-court buzzer beater, but sometimes you get that half-court buzzer beater that's like at halftime, and it's not as – it's just cool. You know what I mean?
To win the game.
Oh, to win the game. But
a game-winning half-court buzzer
home
beater
run all the way. I just think there's just more – I think there's more hype around it. There's just something about the crack of the bat. You know what I mean? You're just throwing it up with the basketball.
That happens.
Maybe if
more
it clinks.
often.
I like basketballs that like clink against the backboard and go in. Maybe not so much swish, but
it happens more often. The walk-off home run happens a lot more often than the walk-off half-court shot.
I could see that. Yeah, surprisingly enough.
Hail Mary to end the game, tipped and into the hands of the team, the home team, and they win. Versus a walk-off home run.
I would take the football. I think there's been some really exciting moments. I mean, last-minute touchdowns. Matt Caddell in the back of the end zone against Arkansas. I saw something on Twitter. It was like Touchdown Alabama was talking about loudest game you've ever been to. That's one of the loudest games I've ever been to. I've never heard Bryant Denny louder than that.
Yeah. All right, let's get Jeremy in here. Jeremy, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, Tom? Just leaving the BBC. Been setting up for the home show this weekend, or finishing touch Shutters by Design booth that'll be there.
Okay.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Good job by you.
You have an open invitation, Tom. Come by and see us at the booth.
What day? What is it? Saturday and Sunday?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. God, my wife would love going to the home show.
We're gonna be set up over there next to the Valley Rental booth. We're right across from it, so
Valley Equipment Rental has a booth
there.
Or different. Not Valley Equipment Rental. What's Valley Rental? We're talking about Valley Equipment Rental?
Yeah. The Valley Equipment Rentals have got their booth set up across from us.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. You know what? I'm doing the game Saturday night. The hockey game Saturday night, that would make perfect sense. I should come down about 3:30 with my wife, do the home show, and then go do the hockey game.
There you go. It'd be perfect.
I'll run that by. What's your business now?
Finishing touch Shutters by Design. We do exterior shutters and interior window treatments.
All right, finishing touch. Finishing touch. All right. Good enough.
And then all the wrestlers won't be there like they are today. So,
why are the wrestlers still there? The wrestlers. You mean the wrestlers?
Tonight, baby.
You're talking about the wrestlers. Okay. He said wrestlers. I was thinking of last week's state championships.
Oh, yeah. Those stinky mats are still there.
Talking about the wrestlers.
Yeah, they're like, hey, are you here for the home show or are you a wrestler? I got confused as both today.
Yeah. I could see them thinking that you're one of the wrestlers.
Well, guys, have a good one, and let's go to 16 teams in 2 years. Woo!
I think it'll happen. 14 would be clunky. I know they were talking about 14 with 2 buys. 14 would be clunky. I think they can do 16, though. All right. I would imagine that we're bumping up here against our top of the hour music. So coming up at the top of the hour, Jeff Diamond will join us. We'll pull back the curtain on the combine. Then we'll have open lines the rest of the way. So if you want to jump in, I know Natty Danny's hanging on, but he can't do anything in 30 seconds. So we're going to make sure we give him enough room, and you can jump in as well. There's a number of things I want to get to, including some coaching talk, some very interesting stuff there as well. Shohei Ohtani, by the way, raking yesterday in his first, not his first at bat. He struck out his first at bat. But in his first game, his first spring training game with the Dodgers. And I just have one question. Dude's been here now, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
Okay, lose the interpreter. Okay? I mean, if you've been here 5 or 6 years, Shohei Ohtani, and you're taking hundreds of millions of dollars from us, learn to speak English, will you please? I know he speaks some English. Should not need an interpreter. Not 5 or 6 years in our country. Lose the interpreter. Speak English. All right, Jeff Diamond's coming up next. Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Go Bucks.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Caleb Williams shut down rumors he does not want to play for the Bears. In his first comments since declaring for the NFL draft in January, the former USC quarterback told ESPN's Pete Thamel he'll be excited if Chicago drafts him number 1 in April, and will be just as excited if the Bears trade the pick and he's drafted by someone else. Presumptive top overall pick will not work out or undergo medical testing at the Combine. He will, though, be meeting with the Bears this week. Williams will throw at USC's Pro Day March 20th and do medical testing during visits with individual teams. The Chiefs releasing receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling, saving $12 million on their salary cap. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund and the Men's Professional Tennis Tour agreed to a 5-year partnership. It includes naming rights for the ATP rankings, the latest move by the kingdom into tennis as well as other sports.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available and 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the VBC box office.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog,
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. The segment brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford and the service department at Woody Anderson Ford, which is second to none. And, of course, they are experts in the service of Ford and other makes. They got dependable service no matter the make or the model. They got a tremendous body shop down there as well. They do everything in the service department in the Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center. And don't forget the certified gold pre-owned vehicles plus the new inventory. It's all at Woody Anderson Ford. You'll find it at the corner of Sparkman and Jordan Lane. It's Woody Anderson Ford. The only place I've gone in the Tennessee Valley since 2004 is Woody Anderson Ford. All right, joining us now, a guy who's been to about 25, 30, I don't know how many of these deals, these underwear Olympics, as we like to call them, probably remembers the Bledsoe Scouting Combine, and when this all started with combined scouting combines, probably was a good idea at one particular point in time. He is, of course, the former GM of the Minnesota Vikings, the former president of the Titans, former NFL Executive of the Year, Jeff Diamond, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeff, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, good, Tom. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Take me back, your first recollection. I remember Bledsoe, right? Wasn't it that what that was called, the Bledsoe Scouting Combine, and they would get multiple teams together? Because I don't even know, how did the NFL scout players before Bledsoe started putting together their service?
Yeah, I think back in those days, I didn't even go to the combine back in those days. It was Bledsoe was made up of about 8 teams, which the Vikings were one of the teams at the time. And so, yeah, before then it was all individual scouting and just do the best you could to get by. And it wasn't nearly as much budget put towards scouting or travel. And it's just become such a crazy enterprise now when you talk about the NFL Combine. And so I think the first time I went was back in the 90s when I was GM of the Vikings and just started to understand what the Combine was really about, which was truly the most important things that happen at the Combine. And NFL Network doesn't want you to believe it because they want you to watch all these guys working out. But from the team standpoint, the most important things are the physicals, because it's the first time that your team doctors can examine players, take x-rays, talk to them about past injuries, and it's not filtered by the colleges who obviously want their players to be drafted as high as possible. They want to play down the injuries. But so the physicals are really critical, and the interview sessions with the players, which give the teams a chance to get to know the players personally more than they have in the past, and they'll do more of that at their pro day and possibly bringing in some players to their facilities. But part of the problem with the interview process, and I'm involved with this at my agent group out of Minneapolis, is that the players are so well trained now in interview techniques, and so we drill the players on what kind of questions they're going to be asked, and getting on a whiteboard to describe coverages and so forth, and blocking schemes, and so there really aren't very many, if any, surprises from what the teams ask the players, and I talk to them about make sure you have good eye contact, that you're not saying and like and and stuttering, and it's just all those type of of training techniques. So even the interview process is kind of tainted now. And so it really becomes the physicals, the interviews. The on-field testing is just one, I would call it a smaller piece of the puzzle. As I said, even though NFL Network wants to have this excessive coverage, and truly what I would always say in our meetings with our scouts and coaches is I would say, let's focus on how the guy played on the field, in games, in college, in his career, and less on the measurables, because we've seen so many workout warriors over history, the Mike Mamulas of the world, and you know all this very well, Tom. But I always say, hey, Jerry Rice and Chris Carter ran about 4.5 to 4.55 40s. Right. They didn't run 4.2, and they ended up in the Hall of Fame because they ran great routes. They were great teammates, great leaders, had great hands, and I signed John Randall, and I've told you this story many times, Tom. I signed John Randall as an undrafted free agent for $5,000 in 1990, and he didn't go to the combine. He was a 240-pound defensive lineman in college who went undrafted, but by the time he showed up to our Vikings training camp, he'd built himself up, working out, nutrition, and everything. And he ends up in the Hall of Fame as a defensive tackle. So
yeah,
great players come from all different avenues, and the Combine is I would call it the most overrated, overhyped event on the NFL calendar.
Certainly there are those players those anomalies. I mean, Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. Joe Montana, 3rd-round draft pick. There is that. But then, a team is built obviously by, eventually, 53 guys that are on an active roster. You need to have a lot of bodies that go through there. Is there value to watching a guy go through bags and run routes and seeing his hip flexion and see whether or not, because I know that, I coached at the Division III level, and the difference between a Division III, we had tackles that were 6'5", weighed 340 pounds, but they had a hard time getting out of their own way. A Division I
right.
tackle who's 6'5", 340 pounds, and he can jump up on a box. You know what I mean? That guy, he had a vertical jump of 30 inches and could just hop up on a box because he has that athleticism. Is there some value into that, or do you get all of that from pro days and from individual workouts when they come out to their facility?
Yeah, I think as I said, the Combine, it's a piece of the puzzle. They're going to do these same workouts. The players that do work out, the Caleb Williams of the world, aren't even going to throw at the Combine. They're just going to show up for the physicals and the interviews.
And is that a negative at all? Is that a negative at all to the management of these teams? And do you look at that and say, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams aren't throwing? Is that a half a mark against them, or doesn't even matter? You don't even care.
Well, I think the teams are used to it, but I think it is a somewhat negative because, and I always tell our players that we're representing in the draft to do as many workouts, as many on-field testing as you can for teams, whether it's at the Combine, whether it's at the Senior Bowl, Pro Bowl, whatever, pro days, whatever it may be, because for guys like Caleb Williams who are putting it all on the pro day, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. What if it's a lousy weather day and so forth? But they want to control the environment. They think they'll run faster on their own track and all that. I think that's really a kind of a misplay on their part. I think they should be doing as much as they possibly can. And I think you see that in the NBA. The top players there, they show up at the Combine, they play in the scrimmages. It's just it doesn't really make sense, but that's the way the agents have kind of wired this thing. And yeah, I think the teams don't like it, but they're used to it at this point in time with the very top players.
Well, because the scouts know
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, they know they're not throwing to their own guys, the guys that they're used to, and they know they're throwing different routes and everything. I mean, I kind of want to see the ball come off the guy's hand. I want to see how he spins it. I want to see, his foot movement and his drop and the different kind of drops that they have them do and so on. I don't think that this concept of I want to throw to my guys to routes that I know that are coming. Why, they know. They know that it's not a you're not playing, you're not throwing a pass to a guy that you've been playing with for 3 years or something like that. I mean, that's a weak excuse.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. But and again, it all circles back to me. Look at the tape. How'd the guy play in games? And so you know how Caleb Williams performed in the Pac-12. You know how he played. Maybe he had a little better junior season or sophomore season than junior season. But you watch all the tape and you put it all in your mindset as you're evaluating a player, and then try to make that decision. So it's just, as I say, watch the tape. How did they really play? It's so much more important than what the combine is or a pro day is or anything else.
Well, since you mentioned Caleb Williams, Jeff Diamond with us here, former NFL team president, former GM, executive of the year. He knows all of this stuff. He knows what it looks like. So since you mentioned Caleb Williams and you're looking at that tape, you're seeing one thing when you look at tape against top 25 teams, and you're seeing another thing when you look at tape against everybody else. And in college football, unlike the NFL, the worst NFL team is really not that worse, that bad compared to the best teams. There are no, weak sisters, on an NFL schedule, if you will, to pad your stats against. How much does that tape, how much do you got to evaluate that? He's 500 against top 25 teams. He's thrown, as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. He's taken a lot more sacks and all of those types of things. The last time he came up big in a big moment, a Patrick Mahomes type moment, whose numbers get better when he's in those tough situations. With Williams, his numbers got worse when he was playing against the best. How do you evaluate that kind of film with everything else? You can't put it all together. You got to look at who they're playing against.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true, and that's why you really have to make a close evaluation if you're one of these teams, such as the Bears with the top pick, or Washington, or New England, the teams at the top of the draft, with all those top guys, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and so maybe the Bears will come to the conclusion eventually that Justin Fields is the guy that they'll keep, and they trade out of that number one spot, pick up a couple more number ones for the future, and move down, and still perhaps draft a Marvin Harrison or something to help Fields. So there are a lot of ways to go about it, although certainly the tea leaves kind of leads you to believe that Ryan Poles in Chicago is going to take Williams, because he'd also like to reset the contract clock and have a rookie quarterback, which is certainly more beneficial cap-wise than to keeping Fields. And then a year from now, you've got him in potentially having to extend him or a fifth-year option ahead, and all of a sudden the money really jumps, whereas with Williams, they'd have 3 years of grace time, more or less. And then they can hope that they have a C.J. Stroud or a Patrick Mahomes or something like that who comes on the scene. The Mahomes that took year 2, C.J. Stroud was year 1, and they'll hope it's not Bryce Young again. But again, even Bryce Young, you got to give him some time. So for Carolina to upgrade their supporting cast, it's interesting. I think when you look at quarterbacks as a whole, Tom, and I wrote about this week in the 33rd team, that it's fascinating to look at the two conferences. The AFC has a whole bunch of first-round quarterbacks: Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Stroud, on and on, playoff caliber quarterbacks who were drafted in the first round. The NFC has gone a vastly different approach, and almost all their playoff quarterbacks except Jordan Love were not first-round picks. Jalen Hurts, a second-round pick. You've got Brock Purdy, a seventh-round pick. Guys like Cousins last year, a fourth-round pick.
Fourth round. Yeah.
It's amazing. Geno Smith, tossed aside by the Jets, was a playoff quarterback in Seattle. Stafford traded out of Detroit.
Dak Prescott, I think, was a fourth.
Dak Prescott, fourth-round pick, exactly. And so it's just on and on with the NFC being totally different. And again, circle back, you mentioned Tom Brady. He was a sixth-round pick. And so the point is, there's more than one way to find your quarterback, and it doesn't have to be in the first round of the draft, because history also tells us that several of those guys when you look at the top 6 quarterbacks this year, and I'm talking Williams, May, Daniels, throwing J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, who might be later first round or early second round, you take those 6 quarterbacks, and history tells you that probably half of them are going to be busts or not star caliber players, just as Ryan Leaf, Mitch Trubisky, Zach Wilson, on and on historically, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. These are all first round picks who did not pan out with their drafting team.
Yeah, it is
so
almost
it's an inexact science.
It's crazy. Yeah. Vince Young, kind of bring it closer to home. There's been guys like that. The numbers from 2000, it's almost exactly 50-50. Since 2000, now we're talking about 23, 24 years now. Since 2000, it's almost exactly 50-50 on first-round quarterbacks that pan out. And quarterbacks after the first round, your percentages are higher. Those kids that are getting drafted in the second and third and fourth round, the percentage of hits versus misses is actually higher when you get out of the first round. And I think that's because first round, you're getting teams that are historically struggling that are reaching, and you get guys that are reaches, at quarterback. And with all due respect, it'll be interesting to see what Ryan Poles does there. And now it's going to be backed up. He says he doesn't want to keep Justin Fields in a gray area in due respect to Justin Fields and so on and so forth. Now it's going to be another 3 weeks before Caleb Williams has his pro day. So if they really want to see this kid up close and personal, you can't make a decision, I don't think, before then, unless you're totally throwing in the towel on Justin Fields. But, Ryan Poles' daddy was my roommate as a coach, and Ryan and my kids played together as kids. And, I love the kid. There's no doubt about it. At 36 years old, very young to be a GM in this league. But for him to say, I need to solve this in the next week or so because I don't want to keep Justin Fields in a gray area, I mean, this is big boy business, right? I mean, he can't be worried about how Justin Fields' feelings are hurt and that Justin Fields wants this thing solved. If it takes him another month or whatever, he's got to just take another month or whatever. I mean, his job is on the line. I was a little bit bothered that he almost sounded like he was too concerned about hurting Justin Fields' feelings and to get that deal taken care of.
Yeah, I think that was a nice kind of PR gesture on his part, but yeah. I think what he's probably more concerned, he's probably a little bit more concerned about making sure that, as you said, his evaluation is in place, and that you got free agency coming up in 2 weeks, and are they really going to know about Williams by that point in time? And also the fact that if he waits to trade Fields, perhaps some of these teams will go to the second-tier quarterbacks, such as trying to make a big push on Kirk Cousins. Not that he's a second-tier guy. He's a top-tier guy, and I think he'll re-sign in Minnesota. But then you got Jameis Winston, you got Gardner Minshew, you got Joe Flacco, Ryan Tannehill, as you know from down there. So there are a lot of guys that teams may go to, and then look to the draft to pick a guy in a later round, perhaps, and that a Tannehill could be a bridge quarterback if he could stay healthy. So yeah. I think that may be part of Ryan Poles' thinking, is that maybe my best chance to deal Fields and get the best return is before free agency, before these teams fill out their rosters and start spending their money. But it's a tough call. But as far as the combine as a whole, and you and I talked about this before, you see more and more coaches not showing up at the combine because they figure they can watch tape of the interviews, or they could even get on Zoom at the interview sessions and be involved in the interviews from afar while they're working on, especially the new coaches, getting their schemes put together. Because, hey, all of a sudden OTAs and mini camps are around the corner. They got to get the playbook ready. They got to work with their coaching staff. And so, so you see more of these coaches now showing up too, because they also know that it's the physicals and the interviews that are more important. And they can watch tape of the workouts. They can watch NFL Network if they want, but they'll get all the video from every player's workout, and they'll see them at pro days on tape. So it's just kind of a much ado about not much at the combine.
Yeah, I will say this though. I'm just going to say this about the coaches, about the entire staff's not going. I mean, Seattle, and a new head coach, Mike McDonald, that entire staff did not go. The Rams staff did not go. Matt LaFleur did not go. Mike McCarthy. These guys all know a heck of a lot more than I do. But my thought on this is that twofold. One, what the hell else are you doing? I mean, you're a head coach in the NFL. Everybody is there. It's an opportunity to, maybe you're not doing a ton of evaluation, but you're seen and be seen. You're covered by the NFL Network, ESPN. You give your interviews. You're bonding. Take your staff. You get some time together. You can have staff meetings there at the hotel and do different things like that. But it's 3 days or 4 days. Is it really hurt for your staff to go? And the second part of it was, Jeff, we're in a day and age where we expect these players to come to voluntary workouts. We expect them to be at the OTAs. The union wants to change all of this stuff, mini camps, and all of this stuff in the offseason. If you're expecting your players to make that kind of commitment to travel and come in for voluntary workouts and all that stuff, the least you can do is go to the combine for 3 or 4 days. It's almost like you're telling the players the same thing, that it's, this offseason stuff isn't important. And, I don't know. I would be encouraging my staff to go.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you that they can do meetings in the hotel and so forth with the staff. And I think part of the phobia for head coaches to show up there, it's almost a coaches' convention, because you have a lot of unemployed coaches who are going to be grabbing at these head coaches and saying, "Hey, think about me for the future and a future opportunity," and they may be guys that they've coached with in the past. And so I think that's part of the reason that some of these head coaches want to stay away too. But I think there is, I agree with you. I think that certainly the head coaches should show up at the combine and have a feel for what's happening, and they don't have to go to every workout or whatever, but I think it's still important to be there, and it's part of the NFL calendar. I agree with that.
Yeah, just be there to hang out.
Unless you're a new coaching staff and they're putting their whole plans together and they think they can do it better at their facility, then that's fine. But I think, for example, Jim Harbaugh, I think he's there. He with his coaching staff, and he's a new coach, so it kind of works both ways. But overall, I think the combine is a little bit overrated, but it is one of the things that it's kind of a necessary evil in the NFL. I spent so many weeks there, Tom, and not the most fun time of my life to be in Indy in February.
I hear you. All right, before I let you go, I got a Detroit Lions fan that asked me an interesting question yesterday, and I didn't want to answer it because I wanted to put some thought into it. For you, I'll just ask you a gut feeling, just a gut reaction. Right now in the NFL, is Jared Goff a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right today, in your mind?
I think he's right there. Yeah, I think I don't think he's top 5, but I think he's in that. I would say he is bottom of the top 10 to maybe 12, somewhere in that range.
Just outside the top 10.
I think he doesn't have the mobility that some quarterbacks have, but he can certainly make the throws and played really well last season. Had that one stretch where he had a bunch of turnovers when the Lions lost a couple games. But, yeah, I mean, he's not in the class of Mahomes and Jackson and Allen and some of those top guys, Burrow when he's healthy. But he is, I think he's a quality player. I would put him in the class with a Cousins, for example, that when he's got the right protection, he's got the right supporting cast, he can be a really effective quarterback. And Jared Goff won, 14 games, including the playoffs last year. Cousins won 13 games the year before he got hurt. And so these guys are quality players.
Yeah, I put them. I like your Cousins comparison, but I still think they're just outside of the top 10. I mean, Tua or Goff right now. I mean,
I think you would take Tua, especially a younger guy, and he does have more mobility, even though they don't want him to run as much as he used to. Right. But he also had a great supporting cast in Miami, certainly.
What about Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy or Jared Goff? Right now, I tell you, okay, you can have Brock Purdy or Jared Goff. Yeah, I'd take Brock Purdy.
Ooh, I'd take Brock Purdy. Yeah, I think I would. Again, great supporting cast he's got, but I think what Brock Purdy showed us in the postseason, especially, was mobility that we didn't necessarily. I didn't think he really had that kind of speed and that running ability to escape, and he made some big first downs, especially in the Detroit game. And so, yeah, I'd take Purdy.
What's interesting is he might actually be slightly ahead of the guy who was traded for, Matt Stafford, which is interesting because Goff was thought to be just, all right, we're going to give you a guy so you have a quarterback. We're taking Matt Stafford. We're going to go win the Super Bowl, and we're going to give you a guy, and you can have this guy for you to. Now, 3 years later, he might look at it and say, would Matt Stafford have done any better than Jared Goff if Matt Stafford was the coach or the quarterback of the Lions last year? You know, do they beat the 49ers and go to the Super Bowl if it's Matt Stafford instead of Jared Goff as their quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're very equivalent at the stage of their career. So Detroit comes out smelling like a rose with all the extra draft picks they got out of that deal.
Yeah, they won
certainly more power to them. That trade definitely helped the Lions immensely, and Goff seemed like an afterthought at the time, but he's really obviously played great with Ben Johnson as the coordinator there, and with Dan Campbell putting a lot of faith in him. So although Stafford won a Super Bowl in L.A., so it's kind of a trade that worked out for both teams, but I'd still say the Lions got the better of the deal.
Always a pleasure. Jeff Diamond has been our guest. Nobody better to talk NFL than with Jeff Diamond. Jeff, I appreciate you. Keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to chatting again.
Great. Thanks, Tom. All the best to you and your family.
Don't forget 33rdteam.com is where you can find Jeff Diamond and all his writings as well. All right, we get a break in here. When we come back, phone lines go open the rest of the way, 256-576-4977. So there, a guy who was a former NFL Executive of the Year puts Jared Goff outside of the top 10. Natty Danny did ask me a question. Remember, Grizz, he said, name 9 guys. And, you know, I wanted to think about it for a minute. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, okay? Josh Allen,
yeah,
there's 5.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, there's another one to put ahead of him. Justin Herbert, I definitely put him ahead of him. Tua, he agreed with me that we put him at C.J. Stroud.
Yes.
Off of that
Most
year
definitely.
that he had. We're not even mentioning Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
After leave him off the list.
I don't know.
You
C.J. Stroud's with like a porn star now, so I don't know. We'll see what happens second year too. Yeah, he's with like some. He's with some crazy porn star now. Yeah, so
and Brock Purdy, I put Brock Purdy up there, and then Trevor Lawrence. I would take Trevor Lawrence.
Oh,
over
definitely.
Jared Goff.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the line is 11-12 with Matt Stafford. I think that
I'm
him
just
and Matt
hating
Stafford,
on him. I've just never been
like
a big
12.
Jared Goff guy.
And that's not even Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You know, and if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, he's at him. He's about a 12, 13.
Ryan Fitzpatrick said it really well. I mean, I know it's a slight. It was a poor man's Matt Ryan. I mean, he has days where he looks like Matt Ryan. And then he throws 3 picks the very next game. Or, you know, 1 pick and 120 yards.
About 13th in the NFL. All right, we get a break. We'll come back. Phone lines next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with 2 $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com to order. And don't forget frozen custard for dessert. Cheeseburger Bobbies, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive, Huntsville, and at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
It's time to go fly a kite.
Let's go fly
A Ray of Hope is hosting the 12th Annual Community Kite Festival on Saturday, March 2nd from 11 to 3 at John Hunt Park. This free event brings harmony across all ethnic and social backgrounds through kite flying and family-friendly activities. You can bring your own kite or purchase one at the event. Saturday, March 2nd in John Hunt Park. Learn more at ashakaranonline.org.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Free air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. OmahaSteaks.com/VSiN.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Major League Baseball spring training in full swing. The Dodgers enter the season as the favorite to win the World Series at plus 375, with Atlanta the second among betting favorites at plus 550. The defending World Series champion Houston Astros check in at plus 800, with the Yankees at plus 900. Aaron Judge a plus 550 favorite to win the MVP, with Juan Soto at plus 600, Corey Seager plus 850, and Yordan Alvarez plus 900. Julio Rodriguez plus 1,000 to win the MVP. March Madness is fast approaching. Connecticut the 450 favorite to win the national title, followed by plus 700 Houston, plus 700 Purdue, plus 1,200 Arizona. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
If those high utility bills have you seeing high numbers, make sure you give our good friends over at Talent Heating and Air a call today. They can save you some money.
That's right. We're doing one of our biggest specials ever. It's $2,000 off select units.
That's $2,000 off.
And free service calls for first responders and veterans.
Free service calls!
That's right. For the month of February, we're trying to take care of these first responders, all they do for us, and the veterans, obviously, as well.
It's Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call today at
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online to save the money
at talenthvac.com.
It's Talent Heating and Air. One more time.
talenthvac.com. AL cert number 21014.
It's Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call to save money today.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
60-47, Buckhorn wins it, and Caleb Holt put on an absolute show with 37 points, 7 boards, 6 steals, and 4 assists. I'm not kidding.
And did not score in the first quarter, is that correct?
Did not score in the first quarter. So sweet in headphones. You gotta listen to the show with headphones out like we do. Stroll around, listen to it with headphones. Listen to a little Carlos Santana there bringing us back. He is brought to you by the TOC, the orthopedic specialist. Pretty much every high school uses in the region, including Buckhorn. Congratulations, Buckhorn, making it to the state final once again. They're looking to defend their state final championship. And by now, I think Mountain Brook and Carver are probably playing. And you know, if Mountain Brook wins, a rematch of last year's 6A state championship. Think about all the schools that are in 6A and the battle through all of that and potentially have the same final that you had last year. Could happen. Don't forget tomorrow, Huntsville, the Panthers, they will be on our air playing as well, and they'll be taking on Enterprise. And about 1:15, I think, is when pregame will start for that one. TOC, they take care of everybody. They just take care of everybody. And they got the right specialist for you. They're North Alabama's largest sports medicine provider. It's TOC Sports. Stay in the game with TOC Sports. All right, phone lines are open. 256-5764-97.7. Waiting patiently for quite a while now is Natty Danny, and he joins us. Natty Danny, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, I got the last 2 days, it's been a lot of pork going on here.
A lot of pork, good pig, hanging in there, committed. What Danny's talking about is he's not a chicken, he's a pig. And the difference between a chicken and a pig is if you look at your breakfast in the morning, all right, you got your bacon and you got your eggs. Well, the chicken was involved in your breakfast. The pig was committed to your breakfast. So we want you to be a good pig and stay committed to the show like Natty Danny is.
Well, a couple things. First off, Scott, please take that commercial off the air. That horn sound drives me crazy. Okay? But if that's cool, if it makes money for the guy that's paying for it, I'm happy for him.
Think of it this way. You noticed it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You noticed it. Let me ask
the
you
ones
this.
you remember.
Do you know who it's for? The commercial is for?
Obviously, I don't.
Oh, okay. That's not good. You should know. It's a Talon Heating and Air spot.
Yeah, well,
we understand that spot. We understand that spot ends tomorrow. So there'll be a new one. Now, is there a new one starting March 1st, Chris?
Yes. There's
okay.
a third.
So
there's a third.
There's a third. Oh, does it have horns blowing like
no,
that?
No, this is just a
no
regular
horns.
commercial.
A regular spot.
Just a regular spot.
Oh, not Scott doing his acting, his best acting gig. No.
Well, it's between that, it's like chalk, fingers on a chalkboard, okay? All right? Now, here's the other thing, all right, that I'm surprised you didn't do it this way, okay? When Jeff Diamond calls in, then you say, we have a Detroit listener. Whoa. Slow your move. Time out. First off, I've been with this station since you started. I was probably the second guy. Wolverine freaking Dan. This year is Natty Danny. If you'd have said Wolverine Dan to Jeff, he said, tell Dan I said hello. Nice. I hope he's doing okay. That would have been nice. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might have given you a shout out. Yeah, because he used to call when Jeff was on my show every day for an hour every day out of my 4-hour show in Nashville. Jeff was on every day, and you used to call then.
So we need to play golf because Jeff's good, but we still need to get out and play golf. We've done, this year you got to get your butt out on course, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just say that. All right. Now Larry and Tim will go out to bear trace out there, or whatever. Anyway, check this out. So, all right, so then you got to go with the golf blast, okay? So I think you're wrong. I'm going to tell you why I think you're wrong. Out of all those quarterbacks, how many made it to the AFC and NFC championship? 4,
right,
correct?
Hang on. Out of all of these quarterbacks, hang on. No, hang on. Oh, that's just 1 year. But out of all of these quarterbacks here,
no. This is the most recent thing that happened, and it is what backs are stubborn things. Those 4 quarterbacks, which we know who they are.
That doesn't mean they're the 4 best quarterbacks. So they're the 4 best quarterbacks. All right, I'll give you Joe Burrow right now for Jared Goff. You in?
What?
I'll give you Joe Burrow right now for Jared Goff. You in?
I'll do Burrow.
Okay. All right. Wait a minute. I'll give you Lamar Jackson for Jared Goff right now. Are you in?
Yeah, I think I am because I don't think Lamar Jackson's got it in him.
Oh, so you don't. So you would rather have Jared Goff than Lamar Jackson? All right, I'll give you Jalen Hurts, who went to the Super Bowl last year, not to the championship game, the Super Bowl. I'll give you Jalen Hurts right now for Jared Goff. You telling me you're not taking him?
As much as I don't like to say it, because he's former Bama, I'll take Hurts.
What about Josh Allen? I'll give you Josh Allen right now. Never been to a conference championship game. I think they went to one. I'll give you Josh Allen right now. You want Josh Allen, don't you?
His running ability, and he's a tough guy. Yeah, I like him.
How about Dak Prescott? You want him?
No.
You take Goff over Prescott? Okay.
You talk to Phillip. How many times he's cried in his beer because of him?
I'll give you Justin Herbert right now. For Dak Prescott, for Jared Goff. No.
He's got long hair. So you ain't that good.
Okay. What about Tua? I give you Tua right now.
Oh, heck no. No pineapple chucker here. I'm not doing him.
He's so much better than Goff. Come on.
Justin Fields split the series. What about Justin Fields?
Yeah, but just
no.
I'll give you C.J. Stroud.
My buddy Tim doesn't even like Fields.
How about the rookie of the year, C.J. Stroud? I'll give you him.
No. Laporta was better than him.
Oh, get out. Yeah, I know that, but so is C.J. Stroud better than Goff. How about Brock Purdy?
No,
take Brock Purdy.
He's a flash in the pan. You watch.
Okay. Well, that's your.
They call them game managers.
Fan. You asked me for 10 guys. I gave you 10 guys that I would put. I think I'd take Trevor Lawrence over Jared Goff too. By the way,
Jared Goff's the top 10 quarterback, and you know what? You're like all these other people, okay? Except for the true traditional love their team to the ends of the earth Lions fan. You're the guy, and a lot of other guys that don't want this to happen. They don't care about the Lions. They think they're no good. They're not. This is just a flash in the pan. But I'll tell you this right now, my man. This general manager and coach know how to get players, because tell me if I'm not right or wrong. This team that got the NFC Championship, that should have won that game, should have got to the Super Bowl, not only beat Kansas City beginning of the year, but this team here is legitimate. And again, the general manager and the coach are smart, and they know how to get players.
I agree.
I believe our rookie players on this team, this draft, was the best draft last year in the NFL, and they produced better than any other team with their rookies. Don't you agree?
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. The only thing is, when we're talking about the Detroit Lions, we have to factor the history in. And when we're talking about the Detroit Lions, wait. Now let's let you rant. When we talk about the Detroit Lions, you have to say in '92 they were 11-5, and they looked like they were going to be around for a long time. And in '93 they were 5-11. So you just don't. I need to see this. I need to see them run it back. I need to see them run it back.
I can answer that question real quickly. Okay, number one, the old man's taking a 6-foot dirt nap. All right. I hate to say it, but that he was the biggest problem we had, just like Jerry Jones. And the second thing, the son don't have any stones. You think he would take over the team? And then the mama takes it over. She did a halfway decent job at 100 years old. And guess who's the one that took this team to where we're at last year? The little sister, real short, petite lady, gave it to the general manager we have and our coach, and look what happened. Tom, you're going to see a lot more of this Lions stuff. I'm not finished yet. This book has just been opened.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Thanks for the call, Natty Danny. It's a good job by you. We'll see. I got to see him run it back. That's all. That's all I'm saying is I got to see him run it back. My sense is that I'll take it a step further. I would take Jordan Love over Jared Goff right now. I think that if the Lions,
yes,
if the Lions had Jordan Love,
and I didn't like him before,
they would have better prospects next year if they had Jordan Love than they do right now with Jared Goff. Packers are going to win. Packers are going to win that division next year.
Yeah,
that news for you. Packers win that division next year. Let's get a break. We'll come back. Phone lines remain open. You want to get in? You can get in. I can get my list here of coaches from small schools. I want to comment on that if we can. We'll see if we can't stick that in there. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have power passes available in 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the VBC box office. The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. It's going to be a cold night across the Tennessee Valley. You're definitely going to need the heater. We're dropping into the lower 30s. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky for your Thursday afternoon, maybe just a touch on the breezy end of the spectrum. But it does look like we are going to be dry across the Tennessee Valley. However, it is going to be chilly. Highs only climbing into the lower 50s, dropping into the low 40s through the overnight early Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I wanna thank you.
Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Equipment with their two locations is perfect for you. It's Valley Equipment Rental. And we just learned that Valley Equipment Rental is going to be at the home show. All right? That's what we heard earlier, is that Valley Equipment Rental will be at the home show. So check them out down there at the home show. I'm going to have to swing by there. I'm serious about that. I'm going to have to swing by there. I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to see that they're our buddy from earlier in the show. I'm going to go see him. Yeah, Jeremy. Go see Jeremy. And what was his deal? I forget the name of that one. I know I'd written it down. Finishing touch shutters, something like that. Finishing touch shutters, I think. We'll go see them. Go over there and see Valley Equipment Rental. And then you can see how they can help you out and make sure that you have everything that you need to get the job done right, like a pro. You get it done by Valley Equipment Rental. They've got the equipment that you need. And for you contractors, they got all the big-time equipment that you need as well. It's all at Valley Equipment Rental, North and South Parkway. All right, Grizz, I've been talking about this deal, this article that I read regarding coaches from small schools who started at D2 or below. It was on The Athletic. It's a very interesting article, and it listed a number of coaches that started out at smaller schools, and we have two of them here in the state. Kalen DeBoer, right, who was at Sioux Falls in the NAIA, where he went 67-3, and Hugh Freeze, who coached at Lambeth in Jackson, Tennessee, from 08 and 09, and he was 20-5 in a couple of years over there. And there are other guys like this. There are other guys that Jerry Kill. He coached at Saginaw Valley State, D2, Emporia State as well, D2 school. Lance Leopold. He was a D3 guy, Lance Leopold, who's done such a great job at Kansas now. He was a D3 guy. You know what Lance Leopold's record was at Whitewater, Wisconsin Whitewater? Chris, check this out. 8 years.
Yeah.
109 wins and 6 losses. Goodness gracious almighty. And in 1988, Rich Rodriguez, we got 3 of them. Rich Rodriguez coached at Salem in D2. He went 2-8. I don't know how he got a gig, but in any event, Brian Kelly coached at Division II Grand Valley State, and so a lot of these guys, Kurt Signetti, who was at Alabama for a while as an assistant, he spent 6 seasons at D2 Indiana University of Pennsylvania, IUP, and then went to James Madison. Now he's with, keeps moving up. I'll tell you what the biggest difference is. It's not in the coaching side of things. Because when I was a D3 coach, we would meet with D1 coaches and NFL coaches, and you couldn't tell who was the D3 guy and who was the Division I guy or who was it. From a coaching standpoint, we would all share ideas and steal ideas from each other and communicate with each other. The difference is the outside stuff. The difference is the 80,000 people in the stands and the fan scrutiny and the administration and the pressure. It's not about X's and O's. It's about handling everything else. That's where it gets difficult. All right, coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show. And then Steve and whoever's filling in for Wes on 97.7 ESPN this hour.
Hey folks,